I'm Fran.
I'm Danielle.
These are our coffees.
Let's talk.
So today we decided we're going to do a to us basic topic, but maybe not to everybody basic topic, and it's kind of one of the main things in real estate, and it's the basic steps to purchasing a home.
Yes. So we're going to start from the beginning for you guys so that you can really learn how to get started, what you should be focusing on to begin with.
Yeah.
So Fran, why don't you tell us step one?
Step one. We kind of have two step ones. We're gonna talk about your budget and getting your pre-approval.
Yeah.
Your budget is going to be determined by your pre-approval process.
Yes. So sometimes we kind of go into step one as being your meeting with realtors and getting to know a couple of realtors.
Excuse me while I dump coffee all over myself. That is not step one. Please, Danielle, continue.
Sure. So sometimes we start with meeting with multiple realtors, getting to know a few of them so you can meet someone that kind of jives with you the best. And then they would go ahead and give you a list of some lenders to go through.
Right.
Now, if you have gone through the banking process initially, great, good for you. So you would be in this pre-approval process where you give your lender all of your information. They're going to ask for W-2s, pay stubs, bank statements. Sometimes they'll ask for tax returns, all of that good stuff. They're going to analyze it and they're going to tell you how much you would be pre-approved up to. So that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to tell you what you're comfortable with. That's up to you to decide.
Right. Yeah, and that's if I can touch on that. So what you're pre-approved for is not necessarily what your budget should be when you're home shopping. So what do we mean by that? Well, the bank may say on paper it looks like you can afford this amount in your mortgage payment every month, but you know that you don't want to be house poor, as they say. So you don't want to be just earning a paycheck to pay for that home. You want to still be able to do the things you enjoy. So maybe take that pre-approval amount and bring it down to a level where you know you're still going to be able to do the things you want to do.
Right. So use your pre-approval as a baseline, but really analyze your own budget on your own and see what you would be comfortable with on a monthly basis paying.
Right.
So they're going to pre-approve you for a dollar amount for the loan, or your purchase price, depending on how much you are going to be putting down.
And they're going to most likely go over something called debt to income ratio.
Yes.
And what does that mean? So your debt to income is exactly that, right? So how much debt do you have as opposed to how much income you have coming in? And to put it in really round numbers, which this is not real numbers, but round numbers. So say you make $1,000 a week, you very well can't be having $2,000 in debt for that week, because obviously you'd be upside down. So that's your debt to income ratio. They want to determine what you're making versus what your debts are.
Correct.
Us as realtors, we normally have a group of individuals that we have worked with in the past. We're very comfortable. We know their work and we trust it. However, do your own homework as well. Make sure you get out there and really look for what different banks are offering, because they could all have very different products. You're going to go into something where there's strictly a mortgage lender versus the brick and mortar bank. They could have very different products. So make sure that you are talking to numerous people and seeing what's out there. Step number 3, which is our favorite step, I think, right? I mean, I know everybody just wants to get out there and look at a house, but our moving on. So, step number 3, but we digress.
Yes, we do.
Keeping this one on track is focus.
Get over it.
But find a realtor. And I think this is our favorite step. This is a fun part, because for us anyway, because we really get to sit down with you guys and meet you for the first time and go over what your wants and needs are. And like we have to tell our children, there's a big difference.
Yes.
There's a big difference between want and need.
So Fran, curious, do you have your clients to the initial meeting with them Do you have them bring a list of wants versus needs?
You know what? I go about it differently depending on the person. So a lot of times, I really use the systems that we have in place. So on our MLS system, when you send them a bunch of properties, and I get a general, like, what they're looking for, I will send them a lot of properties, and I will encourage them to make notes and send them back to me.
Yes.
And then it's all, I can go back and refer to them. It's not going to get lost. It's in our system. It's there forever-ish. And then I can really see what they like, because when they're looking at the houses that are actually out there and they're really getting an idea of what's in their budget, their wants and needs may change a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like it's ever evolving as they go into the homes. They realize, oh, okay, I can kind of overlook this.
Right.
It is good to have a baseline of what your needs versus wants are, but it definitely changes, because sometimes you walk into a house that on paper wasn't really what you were looking for, but it gives you that feeling that you are home.
We are going to move on to it's probably their exciting time. We think the exciting time is finding your realtor, but that's just us. So probably the more exciting time for these folks is when you actually start the home search.
Yeah. So this is where you kind of like tweak your needs and your wants lists. As you go through homes, you kind of establish a better idea of what reality is.
And don't be afraid to change your mind.
Yeah.
Like you may get, and you're seeing all these homes, and then you realize, you know what, that really, the more I see, that's not important to me. I really would rather have this. Yeah. That's fine. That's what it's all about. You're going to grow. You're going to change. We're going to do that with you. That's fine. Yeah. So the bottom line is that remember that your home search and your needs can change.
Yes.
Don't settle, but also don't be afraid to compromise.
Correct. Yeah. Reality. The chances of you getting every single thing on your list.
Yeah, I hate to burst that bubble, but it really is. It really,
even if you have
even new construction, you could build something that you are just like, this is what I want. I'm putting everything I want in this house, and then you get in here and you're like, oh,
yeah.
Like, how do I dust that vaulted space?
Right?
No, thank you.
But yes, so there most likely is going to be compromise along the way. But you'll know that more as you go through more homes. Right. You see exactly what is important and what's not.
Right. We'll call it step number 5-ish.
Yeah.
Step number 5-ish. You're gonna make the offer.
Yes.
So this is, and I will tell you that we do have a whole nother episode about making the offer, because especially in recent years, we've found out that there's just so many different ways you can write an offer.
So yeah, this is kind of where the big stuff starts happening.
Yeah. And I don't want to say super important, because it's all super important, but this is where you really have to make sure that all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. Because if there's something that's not written in the offer and the contract properly, it can really come back to bite you in the end, And what do I mean by that? Okay, well, we'll just take the inspection period. In your offer, you're going to write in there that you most likely want an inspection. You're going to have like 7 to 14 days, right, to complete that inspection. After that time, it's not enough that you just, do the inspection, and you have to give them notice, whether there's things you're asking for, not asking for, dollar amounts, fixes, what have you. If that's not written into the contract that you have those days to do that, you could find something massively wrong with the home, and they will say, well, you didn't follow through. Like, you didn't tell us anything. You didn't tell us. So you're under contract to purchase this house regardless. Yeah. And listen, we can make a lot of changes, but I would rather not make mistakes in the beginning. Yeah. So we don't have to try and make those major changes.
This is a big reason why a lot of people that are going at it alone probably shouldn't. And if they are, they should really make sure they're working closely with an attorney to cover themselves. So if you do feel like you don't want to use a realtor, please, 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 please get in touch with an attorney. Work closely with them to make sure your bases are covered and you don't get screwed over.
So we're moving on to step number 6-ish.
Yeah.
6-ish.
Okay.
Which is the way we math. Your home inspection.
Yes.
So you've made your offer.
Yeah.
They've accepted.
Yes.
You good? Next is you're going to get that pesky inspection done.
Inspection is something that gets written into your contract. You're going to say that you do want inspections, the time frame that you're going to get those inspections done, and then you're going to go ahead and you're going to start booking your inspector. We have a list of great inspectors that we work with and we're comfortable with. We're confident in the work that they do. They're going to go through your home with a fine-tooth comb, and they're going to pick out everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything. There's always going to be something on that report.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And so I would say in my experience that there's really a comfort zone somewhere in between, safety issues, but not being an alarmist.
Correct.
And so like you want, obviously, if there's something that is going to cause the home to burn down the next few days, we want to know about it.
Right.
However, if there's something that is really more of somebody's personal touch than a safety issue or structural issue, we don't necessarily need to know about it.
Or if it's something that's, a quick, easy fix.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So really you want to be concerned with those safety hazards. A good inspector is going to kind of give you a little more knowledge behind that and say, okay, this is kind of like a red on the caution line.
Right.
Where this is kind of like a yellowish green color.
Right.
So they'll kind of tell you what you should be a little more aware of and other things that can, get to it when you can.
Exactly.
So not only will your inspector kind of help you gauge what is really something to be worried about and what's not, but a good realtor will also help you decide on what the issues are that need to be addressed with negotiations after the home inspection.
Moving on to step number 7. Ish.
Yes, this is where kind of the mortgage comes to not its finale yet, but it's getting all of the major stuff done. So you're going to be getting your appraisal done, and it's important to wait until after your home inspection is done to order your appraisal, because that is an additional $500 to $700 that's coming out of your pocket that we want to make sure it's still a viable deal. So this is when your appraisal is getting done. This is when you're going to start shopping your homeowner's insurance. You may have to pay for your first year's premium prior to closing. Some lenders will let you wrap that into their closing costs, but it's lender specific. So you kind of have to find out by your lender. So you're going to start shopping for your homeowner's insurance. You are going to lock your rate with your lender if you haven't already. And that's kind of what this step is about. The mortgage details getting locked in.
Yeah. Step number 8-ish. Your final walkthrough. Final everything, really. Really, final everything, right? So at this point, you've called the utility company and said, hey, I'm the new owner and I'd really like to have lights. Please put in my name. Internet.
Yep.
Gas.
Yeah.
Any of that stuff.
All the good
so you've
stuff.
got that all in your name, right? You get to go. You're going to go do your final walkthrough, which is super exciting, but I feel like stressful too, because at this point, so you've had your inspection and you've asked for them to fix this, and this,
and you haven't seen anything.
You haven't seen it. There's
in that time frame.
In all reality, the seller and the seller's agent should be providing you with that list, right?
So they should be along the way,
right? And they should be saying, "Here, our contractor came and did this, and here's the receipt for it." That's a perfect world.
Yes,
we don't live in that perfect world all the time.
No.
So you're going to go to the final walkthrough. And you're going to check.
All right, Fran.
Yes.
Are we on the final step? Like the final?
The final step is move in.
Yes, you're going to sign your documents. You're going to get those keys. We're going to throw a party for you. And you are now a homeowner.
Okay, so we've gone through all the steps. I think we've reviewed. We're good. We're good. Everybody is super excited to tune in every Thursday night when we release our episode. And we're going to end on that note. I'm Fran.
I'm Danielle.
These are our coffees. See you later. So, all right,
what? I was jiving with that.
Were you? So, all right, so when you're, the other...
Subscribe to my channel.